Hello again, I am Jim Bob, and welcome back to F1 Manager 23 on the PS5. It's time for round 2 of our second season with Mercedes. We're heading to the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. So here we are then, off the back of a very good start to the season. We had a nice little bit of prep yesterday. Got a good little bit of starting development on the car. We ended up with actually a pretty strong car going into the start of the calendar year as it was. Needed to work on our acceleration a little bit, take a bit of drag out of the car, but we have very, very strong downforce levels and abysmal cooling. So we've focused heavily on trying to improve that a bit as well. We have got a couple of new parts on the car with some more to come. Let's double check that we've got everything on both cars. So we have a new chassis. Both of those are equipped. We have front wings for both cars. Oops, no rear wings yet. We have side pods on both cars now. We have underfloors in production. We have got one available, but I don't want to unleash it here. I'm going to save that for the next Grand Prix, I think. We do have suspension, which is on both cars as well. Let's have a look what we've got in development. You can see we are working on more underfloors to give us 2 more. So we've got 1 for each car and then a spare. And we've got 1 more front wing on the way as well. In terms of development, we have another chassis almost ready. That'll be done in 4 days, and then we can start building that. We also have a new rear wing on the way. We just started that recently, as well as another side pod design and another update to the suspension as well. So the car is starting to come along quite nicely, but as I say, it's already in a pretty strong position. Let's take a quick look at our grid average for those of you that missed it yesterday. There you can see second in top speed, just behind Stroll with the fastest car. I forget who it was. No, Charles Leclerc has got the fastest car. But as you can see, our speed is very strong. Acceleration is now pretty good. It's decent. DRS still very, very good. Our downforce levels are excellent. Second in the low speed, first everywhere else, including dirty air tolerance. We've really stepped up the brake cooling, got that up to top of the class, and we are working on improving the engine cooling, hence another chassis and another side pod in development. That should hopefully bring that ranking up a little bit better as well and help keep our engines in better condition as the season progresses. Evening Victor, evening Mr. Watter, Sasha, good to see you guys. Right, with everything already kind of taken care of that we did last night after our first Grand Prix, let's go ahead and set some targets for tonight. So, given the car is very quick, we can be a little aggressive with our targets. We're going to go to the top 4 for quali, both into Q2. We're going to go for the fastest lap as the incentive, and then for finish position, we're going to try and get 2 on the podium tonight. Our quali streak there, you can see 2 in the top 5 for 5 races, and the finish position 1 in the top 6 was the incentive one. Both of those 1 race down. Let's take a quick look at tonight's circuit. There is the Jeddah Corniche, a very long number of, or very large number of corners, 27 corners in total, split over the 3 sections. Lots of high speed and medium speed corners, a couple of low speeds in there as well. But as I said, our car is very strong across the board when it comes to downforce. As you can see, top speed is a crucial element of the requirements of the circuit, and ours is very, very strong. Acceleration is recommended. Ours is decent, 9th, about mid-pack. And then you see medium and high speed are the crucial and recommended, and we are top of the class in both of those. In terms of safety cars, we're looking around about 20 seconds or so for a regular pit stop, but 15 if there is a safety car. There is a chance of safety cars here. We shall see. If anyone's a little careless, puts it in the wall, there's a chance we might even just get a straight red flag. That has happened before. One-stop strategies are going to be the order of the day across the entire race. And if we take a look You can see it was Max who won this Grand Prix last season. Let's see how we can do. Am I going to give Lewis the new part for this race to keep it fair? Yes, we did that at the end of the race last night, so they're going in with equal spec on their cars tonight. We have got enough parts now to be able to do that. So, let's go to Jeddah.
We're here in Jeddah, where the tension is boiling as we head into the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We're on the shores of the Red Sea in the shade of Jeddah's skyscrapers. This might be a dream setting, but as we know, in Formula One, not all dreams come true. The Jeddah street circuit has one of the fastest average speeds, as well as the most corners of any track on the calendar. Good high-speed downforce is going to make life in the fast lane a little easier for drivers here this weekend. How will the British driver George Russell fare this weekend? He was sensational in the last race. He took home the win and set the bar very high indeed. Let's get on with the weekend.
So once again, fine weather in Jeddah. Never ever any worries about rain. So we don't have to worry about any unpredictable weather, which is good. We are going to put Teo in the car instead of George tonight. We're going to alternate it between the two across the season. Let's see, we're not changing any car parts out. It's still just the beginning of the season. Let's go to setups. Have a look. So, I'm going to go with an 8, 11, 8, 2, 3.5 and a 0. There we go. And we want to go about 18 laps because we are running outside of the first weekend now. We're going to overfuel Teo just in case we nail the setup in the first attempt. There we go. And we can just keep him out until he gets his experience. But we'll go with the 18 laps for Lewis for his first run to split it evenly across the session. Drop his pace. There we go. And let's go with a slightly different setup for Lewis. Let's go 7, 11, 9, 1, 3.5 and 0. Everything just in tolerance there, so let's send them to the track. So on average, Teo was about 3 to 4 tenths a second per lap off of George. I'm assuming he's going to be similarly down on Hamilton, maybe slightly more, maybe about half a second down on Hamilton.
And avoid all curbs. Avoid all curbs.
Evening, Farah. Welcome back to Formula One Manager. We've missed you. Some more than others. Some less than others.
Surface temps are low all round.
Everybody give Farah a whoop. Did you see any of last night's stream at all yet, Farah? Because Lewis did not win. George beat him. So I'm sure you would enjoy watching at least the last few laps. Okay, big disparity between the two drivers. Maybe it's the nature of this particular circuit. But yeah, Hamilton is about 0.8 of a second faster than Porsche. Didn't think it'd be quite that big a margin. Yeah, plan this season, Farah, is to let the two drivers fight once they are clear and out of danger of being attacked by another driver. When they're in close proximity to Leclerc or Perez or Verstappen, whoever's challenging, then we'll be holding position. But as soon as they're free and clear, the gloves are off and they can fight to the finish. So 84% for Lewis's setup. That's not too bad. How are we doing with Teo? 83. So a bit of work needed. Let's call Teo in now. Make those changes. Okay, so we need to up that to an 11.5. I think. Well, we might need to drop it to a 10.5. Could go either way. I'm going to drop it to a 10.5. Everything else looks pretty good. I'm gonna go a 7.3, so 7.5, 10.5, 7.3, 3.05 and a 0.05 there. It's a little bit much. It's a bit out. What other ones do I have? I have got an 8.2 actually. I've got a 7, 10.5, 8.2, 3.05 and a 0.5. Again, it's a little off. It's a little bit too extreme. Right, let's try an 8, 10, 5, 7, 3, 3.5, 0.05. That looks a little bit better. Just checking my previous setups. The other option is to go with a 9.1 and then I've got a 6.5. Oh, it's an 11.5, 6.5, 11.5. Okay, so we'll ignore that. Let's see. I'm going to give that a try, see how it works. I think the traction might be a little bit too much. I'm going to probably drop that back to an 8.2 actually. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Did the AI even run their reserve drivers in practice since the start of his career? I don't know. I forgot to check that often last season. But I think in the last game, the AI only ran them at the officially designated young driver test weekend. So
just be mindful, pressure's still
places
low.
like Monza and Abu Dhabi. There is another one in the season where I can never remember where that one is. Might be Silverstone. But yeah, generally you didn't really see the AI run their reserves last year at all. Really, just and not every driver would get a run out either. It would just be kind of like one or two outings per year, and not necessarily every team would do it. I think it's going to be pretty much the same this time around as well. Evening, Saada. Evening, Baron. Wildman. So again, as always from this race onwards, when we're running Teo, we're going to be doing one of two things. We're always going to overfuel him compared to a standard, 2 stint in practice 1. So that if we do nail the setup on the first try, we can just keep him out there until he hits his experience gain. and the 0 goes to a 1 next to the helmet on his driver card. But if we get it wrong and we have to make changes, then we will call him in instantly and then send him back out again until we get the setup, and then that'll be it. We'll pull him back in. We don't need to run him for as long as Lewis because he's not gaining any track knowledge, and that track knowledge doesn't translate over to George. Yeah, we're just getting the car set up. So it just takes a little bit of mileage off the car by doing that. Try pulling that in a touch. Not convinced by that. Let's go the other way. Let's go with the 6.5, 11.5. 9.1. Yeah, let's try that setup. Alright, it's going to be hotter tomorrow and Thursday, apparently. That's when this weather's going to peak, and then should start to cool down a little bit over the weekend. But we don't know about next week yet. We might be looking at this kind of temperature for another few weeks yet. Managed a P4 and P5 in your first race with Mercedes. That's a good job. Well done. Mercedes are a little off the pace at the start of the season. It does take, let's say, a little bit of finagling to get them competitive. And even then, you sometimes need a little bit of luck as well. Right, 90%. That setup still needs some work, but as you can see, we've now finished the driver development for Teo, so he's getting called in. And that's him done for this session. Okay, so maybe that does need to be a 7.3. Which means that's going to need to go up to an 8.5. That's quite extreme. Yeah, we'll go with that. To be honest, I'm amazed Farah stuck around last season as long as he did. Given that he is very much a vegetarian, doesn't like ham. Oh, I sent him out. Didn't mean to do that. Let's call him back in. Got distracted. Poking fun at Farah there.
It's a balance check.
Alright, so Lewis is one click away in terms of getting a perfect setup. Just one click to go. So we can do that. Session is over. Pretty useful information gathered so far. Russell's back in the car. needs to run for about 30... Oh, I didn't change the tyres, did I? Shit. Forgot to put soft tyres on car 1 for the first session. Alright, well, we need to run for about 38 laps. Let's hope we can get the setup nailed. We've made the changes. Lewis is going to run for less than that. He's going to run for about 24 laps. Just need to do that toe correction there. There we go. Into practice 2. Hoping you can play at least 3 races tomorrow. Yeah, that's depending on what kind of pace you play the game at, in terms of, you know, whether you're running it at ×2 or ×4, mixing up to ×16 at times. You know, yeah, 3 races isn't too unrealistic. I'm working through Alfa Romeo at the moment in my off time, and it's brutal because they have so little of everything. Their facilities are really underpowered. I made the mistake of going straight into developing 3 or 4 new parts for the car, and then went to try and build them and realised I only have capacity to build 2 sets of parts at any one time, which isn't great when you have to build spare replacement parts on top of building new parts. So I'm still about 20 days away, I think, from getting my factory upgraded to a lock slot 3. But they only earn about 2 million a race in sponsorship income as well, and it's really hard to achieve sponsor goals. It's tough. Now, should I quali runs that heavily affect confidence in practice? Well, you don't have to run until you get your confidence maxed out. I'm not going to be, for the most part this season, quite so focused on getting my driver prep up to 100. Once it hits about 90, that's probably where I'll call them in. Just save a bit of mileage on the cars. But, you know, it's a lot of laps that you're putting in if you try and push them all the way up to 100. It's a lot of mileage that you put on the engines, a lot of wear and tear on your ERS and gearboxes. So let's see. We reconfigure and confirm. Lewis is at 91 prep, so we'll send him out for a couple of flying laps in the next session, just to try and boost our car part knowledge a little bit more. But Lewis is pretty much done. Doesn't need to get that much higher. Probably enough for George this session. What needs to be tweaked? Just the toe. Alright, I'm going to have to break something to fix that. I think that might get away with that. We'll find out in the next session, I suppose. Last year's game was easier compared to this year's because you managed to win both drivers and constructors with Merck in Season 2. Oh yeah, easily. Much easier last year. I won the drivers and constructors with Williams in Season 2 on our Williams playthrough last year. I mean, the constructors went down to like the dying laps of the final race, but you know, we wrapped the title up in like Mexico, I think, for the drivers. Go with some soft tyres. 15 laps will be enough. It's just a little bit more of a shakedown run. I think when I did a Mercedes playthrough in Season 2, I won 20 of the 22 races. And I think Lewis won 13 of those. I forget exactly how much. I'll have to check. See if I might still have the statistics available on my old save files. I might have uninstalled the game by now, I'm not sure. I think I uninstalled it actually. Once I got this one up and running.
Say what you'd like on the belt.
There's tension in the air today, so it must be time for qualifying.
Jeddah's high-speed street circuit is rather prone to yellow and red flags during qualifying, as drivers and walls often meet. Strategists will be looking for the perfect gap, but need to make sure drivers get their lap in.
Now, there's been a bit of talk about Sergio Perez of late. How's he going to be feeling, do you think?
They had an excellent performance in practice, setting a solid lap time. They must be feeling confident. But confidence doesn't necessarily mean success in Formula One.
Stay with us as we see who can deliver on motorsport's biggest stage.
We should do some work on the brakes.
Yep, fine. Let's just focus on the outline.
Yeah, I'm muted. My bad. Those who joined recently this channel will not realise I did that a lot last year without realising. It's become part of F1 manager folklore. Quiet patches and then just a sudden, oh shit, I was muted. There are many live chat replays with, is Jim on mute again? I'm sure Farah, Mr. Watter can attest personally to having to nudge me a few times.
Circuit is all clear ahead now.
Alright, so
Good to go.
Russell starts winding up for his flying lap. Not going to have any traffic, he's got a clean track in front.
You're good to go.
Lewis has got a Ferrari in front of him, but nothing coming out the garage. Strong first sector, but he's the first person to set a first sector, which is why he's guaranteed purple. And Lewis goes a little bit quicker. Lewis faster in the middle. He might be because he's getting a tow. I don't know if he's close enough to get a tow from the Ferrari. He's probably a little bit far off. He might just be, that little bit quicker anyway. We do know that he was about 2/10 of a lap faster last season, at the end of the season.
Yeah, just get that delta negative.
I can imagine
Yeah,
that's
we will
still going to be the
box
case now that they're running equal machinery again.
Copy.
Yeah. It's
So
about
keep
the
that
gap
box
that
tight.
I was expecting to see.
Box.
Maybe slightly
Pull
bigger.
the car.
Yep.
Well, that's enough to get our drivers through to Q2, so we are done. I'm just going to watch the rest of the grid, see what if any surprises are thrown up in terms of eliminations. Oh, Joe, is that genuine pace or is that held up in traffic to be 3 seconds off? He must have been held up to be that far off. Anyone unexpected down low? Yes, Alex Albon is certainly expected to do better than this. Oh, he's got traffic as well. Albon's out. He's last. He got hit with a lot of traffic at the end of his lap there. Over a second slower than Tsunoda. Yeah, that's bad. I expect to see Alex move forward just a little bit over the course of the Grand Prix, but that's a bit of a shame for him. 1.8 seconds the gap in the end for Zhou once he got a clean run. So field does seem maybe a little bit tighter than last year, but that's a big gap. And look here as well, maybe even that is still slightly delayed. I mean, the next sort of step up there is Hulkenberg at 1.4. So it does look like the field has closed up a little bit this year. No big casualties though. It's kind of, apart from Albon, it's pretty much as expected. Let's move into Q2. You missed the start of the stream. Did Lewis get the part put on his car that George had? Yes. Yeah, I actually did that last night after the race, before ending the stream. Balanced up the cars and then double checked again before we went to the start of the race weekend. So both drivers are running equal machinery tonight. We do have one new underfloor, but I'm waiting until Australia before we stick that on the car, because we have no spares at all, not enough for both cars. Normally what I like to do with a good team or a team that's doing well is make sure that I've got enough parts to put on both cars. I try not to split parts where possible, but towards the end of last season we were so up against the cost cap and we were right in the fight for the title that we had to kind of do that with Lewis and George. Save the spare good bits that we had left for Lewis and downgrade Russell's car a little bit to make sure that Lewis had every opportunity to be able to fight for that title. And then obviously at the start of the season couldn't quite get enough new bits manufactured in time to upgrade the car from the beginning of the calendar year, which is why Russell had a slight part advantage over Lewis. But generally what I'm going to try and do is just keep them level spec'd. So when we bring upgrades, we bring them to both cars at the same time rather than just one car and not the other.
Okay.
Or at least that's the plan, anyway.
All clear ahead. Good to go.
Alright, can George take the initiative in Q2? Slower in the first sector. No traffic in front or behind. Sonoda is too far behind to really benefit from anything that Lewis is doing, and far enough ahead that he's not going to distract George. I think this is going to be Russell's rude awakening here. Oh, maybe not. Russell goes purple in the middle sector. It's going to be close between our two drivers again, by the look of it. Lewis does a 1:26.9.
Stay tight on that delta. Okay, let's call the car and we'll box.
Understood.
And Russell just 300ths of a second slower this time. And I'm absolutely melting. It's too hot in here. Alright, about 5 minutes left. Who is in the drop zone right now? Gasly, Norris, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Piastri. Pretty much who you would expect, I have to say. There's no, again, no big shocks there. Hang on, did we lose a Haas in the first session? I didn't realise we lost one of the Haas drivers. Yeah. Okay. So, final runs. Alonso close to getting eliminated. Can Norris improve? I think Norris is on his in-lap. Yeah, he is. So Norris has not got enough left to actually get through. Alonso just squeaks through there. If Norris had been on a quick lap, there was a chance he might have got knocked out. So we go into the pole position shootout, the top 10 shootout. Let's go just a single lap on these tyres, and then we'll do 2 laps on the new tyres. Send them out straight away.
Wake up those rear brakes.
Yeah. Be careful with the warm-up.
Understood.
So it's possible, although probably unlikely, that these times could actually determine pole position. I think more likely that the drivers will maybe get pole on the first or second lap of the new tyre run we're going to do after this flying lap attempt. But it is possible that they might get knocking out the park straight away on these tyres here. we will probably hit traffic this time around. See, we've got Leclerc, Perez, both pulling out. Now Sainz is coming out. Gasly's coming out as well.
So no one ahead.
Now Alonso's coming out. Yeah, we're going to hit traffic
Good to
here.
go.
Ah, those bastards. They waited till I got round to start the lap and then all piled out at once. Look how much traffic we're going to have to fight through.
Good to go.
Alright, purple for George, obviously, first one across the first timing sector. Lewis goes quicker. George about to hit the traffic. That is Leclerc, I believe. Stays out of the way. There goes Gasly. Hamilton is quicker still. Hopefully that didn't hurt Russell. That might even give him a benefit here. Bit of a slipstream behind Alonso. Or was that Stroll? That's probably Stroll, I think.
Currently P1.
Oh no, Stroll's out. So
And we will box end of this lap.
Yeah, Roger.
half a second difference.
So this, currently P1.
I do
just
feel
confirm
traffic
boxing.
probably played a little bit of a part in that.
Yep.
But now we're going to screw up a couple of cars' laps. As we head back to the garage. So new tyres. Go for 2 laps. And we'll wait about 30 seconds. Maybe. Actually, no, we probably better go about now. Magnussen should be slowing down now that he's crossed the line, unless he's actually boxed. He might be boxing behind us. Yeah, he's boxed. Okay, that's good.
Let's just focus on the outlap. Understood.
So the first lap that we do here should hopefully be clear of traffic. The second lap might be a bit iffy. We'll see. Let's check confidence levels going into this lap. So just under peak confidence for George. And a little bit closer for Lewis, but still in the very high category. So that translates to stats looking like that for Lewis, plus 6 bonus across the board. And almost the same for Russell, just +6s and then a +5 on his defending, which makes no difference. It's only the first 3 that really count
It's all clear ahead.
when it comes to qualifying.
Good to go.
So that circuit's all clear. Good to go.
We're not going to run driver view, helmet view in this Grand Prix because the floodlights cause really nasty reflections and flare off the visually bugged windbreakers at the front of the cockpit. So we'll kind of try out a couple of different views instead. We'll try the side view here, maybe the front wing, and the usual T-cam. Right, Russell improves in the first sector, but still not purple. Lewis does not improve. Got a clear traffic. No, sorry, clear trap. No traffic. Evening, Andy. Russell goes purple in the middle. Lewis does not improve. Is this enough to put Russell on provisional pole? It is, by 63 thousandths of a second, and that gets him into peak confidence. Lewis did not improve at all, I don't think. Or maybe slightly. I don't think he did. And what's his traffic situation like? He's going to have a couple of cars in front. That might actually work to his benefit. He might get a slipstream at the start of the second, or especially towards the end of the second run. But George is in peak confidence, so he's getting the full +8s for his accuracy braking and cornering. Lewis getting +6s and a +7. Braking and cornering are maxed. His accuracy is at 89. There's the difference. Lower braking and cornering for George, but maxed on accuracy. And George is going to get a slipstream as well. Who is that in front? Is that a Ferrari? No, is that a Red Bull? No, it's a McLaren. No, there are no McLarens. It's Perez. This actually, well, I don't know, this might hurt George, actually.
Track is all clear. Okay, good to go.
Should be all clear. Good to go.
Right, second flying lap attempt. We'll go with front wing cam, so that Farah doesn't have to look at Lewis's helmet. Alright, can either driver improve on this second run? George cannot in the first sector. What about Lewis? No.
We have a checkered flag now.
Middle sector split coming up for George. He goes purple. Now Lewis goes purple. Oh, it's going to be so close between these two. Coming up to the final corner. Russell is right on the back of Perez, or he was. Tucks back in. Russell improves slightly. Perez goes second. And Hamilton takes pole by nearly 0.2 of a second. Got a much better toe from Alonso there by the look of it. But a very, very close qualifying. Perez certainly up there. Was not expecting him to be quite up there like that. Whew. Okay. It's going to be an interesting race. That's one apiece in qualifying between our two drivers. George getting pole in Bahrain. Lewis gets it here.
It's race day with the teams and drivers ready and raring to go.
Jeddah street circuit certainly makes the high speeds of F1 racing a thrilling affair. But even a world champion can be caught out in between the narrow walls, just as Max Verstappen found out in 2021.
Lewis there, getting himself ready for today's race. Karun, how's he going to be feeling at the moment, do you think?
They've done really well to get pole position. I mean, what a tremendous chance they've got here today.
Well, the streets of Jeddah are abuzz, and the teams are nearly ready for the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Okay. Strategy. I don't know whether to play it safe or go a little bit more aggressive. I think it makes sense probably to go a little bit more aggressive. Given that we can just back the cars off a little bit, maybe. The AI is almost certainly going to go softs and mediums, so makes sense that we do the same, I suppose. Let's take 2 laps of fuel out. And then we'll go a bit pushy at the start. Go. And before we go any further, I am just going to go grab a drink from the fridge because I've just killed the last one and I am gasping for fluids. I shall be back in a second. And we're back. Evening, Marcel. Made it just in time for the start of the race. Let's go to the grid.
The drivers are lined up on the grid here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, preparing for 50 flat-out laps under the lights. Our attention shifts to Lewis Hamilton and what he can produce in this race.
They start in P1, but will they be able to stay there? The first corner could be so crucial.
And it looks like we're good to go. It's almost time for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Okay, decent start. I think George has got the job maybe on Lewis. It's close, the side-by-side turn 1. George is going to tuck in behind at some point. There we go. And just to get through these opening laps, I'm going to tell him to not attack. Try and break away from Perez and Leclerc, and then we'll let them go at it. if we can break away. If we can't, then we'll hold order until we get into a position where we can let them go at it.
Overtake available.
Yeah.
Perez does slip ahead, trying to hold off on using the battery on both our cars until around about this point on lap 2, so that we can then try and break away from the pack. Why does your name get highlighted in orange? I have no idea. Maybe it's because it's just showing it's you typing, so you can easily see your own comments. I don't know. Maybe it's the glow from the laser point. Barra's sniper rifle. Who knows? Holding back Leclerc at the moment. Might see him try and make a move soon. Can I show tyres? It's only the second lap. We'll do that in a second. We'll just push through here. You can see that the Ferrari behind, and I think Max is also running softs. In fact, I think both Ferraris are running softs. Perez is running medium, same as us though, so it's Perez that we need to be wary of. And now we are going to sprint.
Use the overtake.
Yep.
There we go. So yeah, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz all on softs.
So that's currently P3.
Alonso on softs as well.
Third car behind Leclerc. Push and hold, overtake.
Yeah, copy, all good.
Oh wow, Perez still had enough push left in his car to jump Lewis. Didn't see that coming. Well, we've already broken away from Leclerc. Oh no, we haven't. Wait. No, almost broken away from Leclerc. Barra could snipe you for being a Lewis fan, but you doubt it would go that far. Oh, you underestimate Lewis. His hatred of Lewis. So Hamilton will retake the lead going into the final corner. We might be able to follow through here.
Nice work, Lewis. Just show me what you've got then.
George lining up a move. Trying to go around the outside. Box in Perez. And he does. Right, so now we need to use what's left of our battery to try and break away from Perez if we can.
Okay, good job. Currently P2.
Need to calm these tyres down pretty soon. I don't think we're going to be able to get away from him. Yeah. Let's cool everything down.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we don't fall off a cliff on that tyre. Okay. Just charge the pack.
Understood.
Just get Russell back in range so he doesn't get left vulnerable to Sergio.
Charge the pack.
Covering.
If we could just drop
All right.
it.
Yep.
So we're going to have to hold off on open warfare between the two teammates for a while. At the very least, until the soft-tired runners start to fall off on their tyres. Ocon's got ahead of Sainz, and there's a little gap opening up between Leclerc and Ocon. So we've got a little breakaway group behind our breakaway as Verstappen and Leclerc join our little party. That might be better for us, actually. Hopefully, say, Max and Charles can both get in front of Perez. And then when their tyres start to fall off, as they start to squabble, that'll hold Perez up before they peel off into the pits. And that will give us an opportunity to, again, try and sprint away. Let's speed Lewis up a bit now.
Just have a think about getting the pack back up.
Continue fast charging Russell here. Do need to be wary of any lunges from Checo, so actually let's... Oh, he's still got battle assist on, let's turn that off. How much life have we taken out the tyres? Quite a bit. Get them to cool down.
Just manage these tyres.
Yeah, copy.
Checking the confidence levels. Lewis a little above his starting. Russell a bit further above his starting. And as predicted, Verstappen is making a move on Perez. This is what we want. We want to get the soft tyres cars between us and Perez, because their tyres will drop off quicker and then become an obstacle to Perez, so he has to fight his way back past.
Be careful with the car.
Yeah, copy.
Just try and keep these guys both online.
Understood.
And George's tyres now finally back under control temperature-wise. Who do I think in real life would replace Lewis if he were to retire? I don't think Lewis is retiring anytime soon. I mean, he's committed till the end of 2025. not sure if Mercedes are going to have a title-winning car until the new regulations come in. And then that's assuming that they nail the new regulations. And then made a mess of it this time, but they did the time before that, so who knows? You know, if he likes what he sees, what's going on back, you know, behind the scenes in the build-up to the end of his contract, you know, at the end of 2025 and the start of the new regulations in 2026, he may well sign an extension. So Hamilton might be around for another four years or more. I don't think he's going to be retiring anytime soon. Norris destined for Mercedes. Well, depends. I mean, Red Bull might try going for him. That is the predominant rumour at the moment, is that Red Bull are sniffing around with a view to trying to get hold of Lando, who I think is tied up till 2025 anyway. It doesn't answer your question. Well, we're talking 4 or 5 years in the future. I don't even know who's going to be on the grid in 4 or 5 seasons. You know, we don't know what the landscape's going to be. It's too early to talk about who's going to replace Lewis at Mercedes when he retires, because, you know, the driver situation could be very different in 5 years' time. I mean, in 5 years' time, we might not have Perez on the grid. Alonso will probably have retired by then. Magnussen, Hulkenberg, there's a good chance those guys will be gone. Bottas will probably be gone. Stroll might be gone. Who knows? It's even possible Max might be gone if he decides to pack it in early. You know, I mean, he hinted at an early retirement early last season, so we might not see Verstappen in 5 years' time. Right, we've got a bit of a break.
So we have lower
There's about 2 seconds.
Let's just work on getting that pack back up.
Just going to hold station for another couple of laps. See what goes on behind us. But if we can maintain the gap that we've got, maybe even start to extend it slightly, then we will look at, you know, taking the handcuffs off and letting our boys fight. Changing the subject, isn't it great to see Williams fighting in the top 7? Yes. I mean, I grew up when Williams were a great team. You know, fond memories of Mansell winning the title in '92, and watching Hill win in '96. Even up to well, '97 was the last time that they were truly competitive, I think. I mean, they showed some fleeting signs at times, you know, occasionally since then, but yeah, '97 was the last time that they were truly competitive. It's been quite sad to watch the gradual decline. There was hope in the mid-2010s when they started to climb back up the order. I think they finished 3rd or 4th in the constructors one of those years. and then it kind of just dwindled down, back down to, in danger of going out of business. So it's been rough watching Williams decline, but it's great to see them coming back. I just hope that they can keep the momentum going.
Just reduce your speed. Coming.
And even going back before that, watching Mansell and Piquet in the mid-80s scrapping away. I remember when Mansell's tyre blew in Adelaide, and that killed what would have been his world championship in '86. The Red Bulls are inching back up onto us, but they are still scrapping away. Serrado grew up during the times of Lauda, Prost, Piquet and Senna. Lauda was a little bit before my time, but Prost, Piquet, Senna, I remember watching them racing. Looks like they are trying to push onto the back of us again.
Happy to start reducing that management. Coming.
Senna was a beast. Yes, he was. When he was on it, he was unstoppable. Which part of the Schumachers are you talking about? Are you talking about the 94-95 titles with Benetton, or are you talking about the Ferrari years? Right, Verstappen's tyres starting to go. I think Sainz has been dropped. Yeah, quite significantly. Leclerc has got back in front of Ocon. That or Leclerc has dropped right off and fallen back into the clutches of Sainz and Ocon. Forget which way round the Ferraris were. I think Leclerc was ahead at one point. Colin remembers seeing Sir Jackie win in the 70s. Yeah, I missed the Jackie Stewart years. That was before my time. Little bit of information for those that didn't know. So Jackie Stewart is one of the prime reasons Formula One started becoming safer. He was the one. He was the driver that led the charge for improved safety in Formula One, because he said he got to the point where he was sick of turning up to the track every race wondering which one of his friends was going to die that time out, because fatalities in the 70s were very common. Senna would have won his fourth World Championship if not for that fatal crash. At some point, maybe. I don't think it would have been necessarily in '94, but I think he would have certainly been around long enough to win a fourth title. If he'd stayed with Williams, then it would have been him winning in '96. And '97. But you know, if Senna had survived, it would be a very different story. Formula One would have changed massively because, in terms of just who ended up becoming, you know, the all-powerful team. Because Adrian Newey left Williams because he was unhappy with the treatment of Hill and went to McLaren, and McLaren became the great, you know, team of '98 and '99. If it hadn't been for you know, Patrick, you know, Head and Frank Stewart kind of pushing Newey out a little bit in terms of choosing not to re-sign Damon Hill and bringing in Jacques Villeneuve, Newey would have probably stayed with Williams. McLaren's resurgence in the '90s, in the late '90s, might not have happened. Well, probably wouldn't have happened. Who knows? Yeah, it could be it could have changed the entire landscape of which teams were dominant and which weren't.
Charge the pack.
Copy.
If we could just drop back a bit.
Copy.
We are going to try and start building towards another breakaway push. I'm trying to get George's battery up to full.
So happy to push now.
Evening, Zane. Anyone else heading loose for crash soon? I'm not, but I get where you're coming from.
Just cool the car.
Copy. Use the overtake. And think about left lifting coast.
Yep.
Alright, the Red Bulls are definitely pushing again. Ocon's got ahead of both of the Ferraris now. are we starting to see the slow decline of Ferrari? They probably won't be the next team we'll join. I think. I don't know. I might take on Haas. Might take on McLaren.
So just charge that pack.
Understood.
While George still has some battery left to burn. I'm going to put him into the ascendancy. Hopefully I judged that just about right. Looks like it, yep. Hamilton's got the DRS. And we kept enough of a gap to Perez. And now we can start rebuilding Lewis's battery. Verstappen is definitely at a disadvantage here. So if he gets into the... I wonder, look at Leclerc's tyres. Wow, he's really burnt those tyres. I think part of that is pushing, part of that is being stuck behind Ocon in his wheel tracks, trying to find a way through, and has overheated those tyres. We've got the gap up to 2.4. Nope, 2 seconds. That's not too bad. A little bit of breathing room again. I'm surprised how far off Leclerc has been actually pace-wise. Thought he'd be closer than this. Max does temporarily get ahead, but he can't close the door, and Perez is just going to go straight back past him on with the DRS wide open. Still side by side though. Perez finally shuts the door. Leclerc is in the pits. And he's gone mediums, as expected. Right, where's he going to come out? Just in front of that big train of traffic. That was crucial for Charles Leclerc there. If he'd come out behind Tsunoda and Ricciardo and Albon and Hulkenberg and Bottas, he'd have been absolutely screwed. Oh, we're going to pit stop issue for Oscar.
We see Piastri's team standing by. But the car isn't released properly.
That's a shame. He's been running quite high up. Right, back to the front. Hamilton's nearly fully charged. We're going to switch them back over and let Russell fully charge up so that both of our drivers are able to push before the pits. And then we'll let them fight. Verstappen's got to be boxing soon. Another lap or two, I would imagine. Come on, get in front of him. Take him out. That'll work for me. Alright, flurry of activity in the pits. Sainz is in. Onto mediums. Stroll onto mediums. Here comes Magnussen. Good stop for Magnussen. Ricciardo coming in. Clean stop. Do I watch other sports from F1? Not so much anymore. I used to watch football religiously. Now I still kind of pay attention to the results, but I mean, I don't even watch the highlights that often. I used to watch snooker when I was younger, but I don't really watch that anymore. I don't even really follow the results of that anymore.
Stuff and charged.
Understood.
Yeah, it's pretty much just Formula One now, and you know, keeping a watching brief on football. It's pretty hard to watch sports when the vast majority of them are locked behind a paywall these days.
Push and hold it, overtake.
Copy.
Back in the days of F1 races being on free TV, you know, live, every race, I would be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the Japanese Grand Prix. Similar for, you know, for Melbourne. But yeah, these days, the only race I ever get to see live is Silverstone. So Max is in. I think that was a clean stop. He's going to get out ahead of the Ferraris quite comfortably. Who is my best driver ever? Are you talking real life best driver ever? And who do I think is the most overrated and underrated? Or are you talking in the game? I'm guessing you're talking real life. Yeah. I was waiting for that from Farah. I didn't even get the chance to hint at that. It was just straight. There it is. Most overrated. See, overrated is a hard one to quantify because drivers that aren't that good but stick around for a long time, like say Pastor Maldonado, are there because of funding rather than anything else. The days of pay drivers are almost gone. Not entirely, but almost gone now. So now it becomes not necessarily who's the most overrated, but who is the most undeserving of a seat in modern F1 is now the way that you kind of have to look at that. There are no drivers now who are simply there because of a paycheck. Because of a big dollop of sponsor money. I would have to say maybe Stroll, in the current crop of drivers at least, is, I would say, the least deserving of a seat. He's had his time to show what he can do, and he has got some pedigree from the lower categories. And he has had moments of brilliance in F1, but if he were any other driver, he would have had his time and gone by now. It's not to say he's a really bad driver, but he's not performed at a consistent enough level to warrant keeping a seat if he was at any team other than the one that his dad owns or one that his dad bankrolled. He bankrolled his son at Williams, and he was the last of the big pay drivers in that respect, along with Nicholas Latifi, who brought in a lot of sponsorship money a year for Williams. Williams don't necessarily need that anymore. I mean, they do need a big injection of cash to upgrade their facilities, which are like 20 years out of date now, by their own admission.
Charge the pack.
But they don't need, a driver to come in with 30 million a year in sponsorship money anymore, because of the way the franchise system for teams works now. Formula One is its most profitable ever for the teams. They've never had it so good in terms of prize money. Now with the cost cap regulations, and controlled budgets, teams are able to turn a profit and survive financially. Even at the bottom end of the scale. You go back 10 years, Haas would probably be out of business by now. But yeah, and as I say, in terms of the current drivers, I would say probably Stroll is the most undeserving of a seat. Simply because if his father wasn't a billionaire owner of a team, then he probably would have been, future endeavoured out of the door and replaced with another up-and-coming young driver. So he's currently blocking access to Formula One for a potential younger driver at this point, unless he starts to really turn it around. In terms of who is the most underrated, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I don't know. Who is the most underrated driver? Yeah, I couldn't say. Again, it's it's difficult to really kind of put terms like that into context, because drivers that are good usually get picked up by good teams and go on to achieve success. Drivers that are bad usually stay in the lower teams and then disappear. So it's kind of hard to say who's an underrated driver. I mean, a driver who maybe didn't have the opportunities that they deserved. You've got to look at maybe someone like Button. Took him a long time to get into a car that was capable of actually delivering results. But he did go on to win a world title with Brawn. And he did outperform Lewis when they were partnered together at McLaren. Yeah, it's a tough one to say. You think Max is overrated? I don't know. I don't think he is. He's phenomenal. And he is arguably the best driver on the grid right now. Yeah, I mean, he's in such a great vein of form. He certainly wouldn't have had it all his own way if he and Lewis had equal machinery. But I think Lewis is probably the only one who is able to match Verstappen at the moment. I mean, Leclerc is a really good talent, but he is a little inconsistent. He makes too many mistakes. Whether part of that is just the nature of being at Ferrari, I don't know. Max and Lewis are a class above every other driver in the field at the moment, but there are some really good prospects coming up through the ranks. You know, Norris is firmly establishing himself as a driver to be in serious contention of a world title if he ever gets the machinery to match his talent. Leclerc has the tools as well. I would put him alongside Norris. But it would be Max and Lewis at the top, and then everybody else, you know, staggered below. Alright, we are getting ready to box. So let's box Lewis. Let's check who's got the worst tyres. George's tyres are worse, so we'll box. Oh no, George is in second place. We'll box Lewis this lap, but we'll throw Russell onto full tilt on his tyres.
So box.
And he'll get the benefit of DRS down the main straight as Lewis boxes. And so we'll bring George in on the lap after, and they will be free to fight. Oops. Next lap, there we go. They'll be free to fight after that as well. We'll just wait till Lewis drops in the pits before we take that command off.
Box.
Yes, box.
Yeah, I see someone suggesting that Mazepin was potentially an overrated driver. He wasn't. He wasn't overrated. Everyone knew exactly why he was there. He was there because his billionaire father was funding his career and injecting a huge amount of capital into Haas to do that.
Okay, copy Lewis.
Okay, so Perez coming in. He's about 6 seconds back now. That's a nice healthy little margin.
just watch the white line.
2.1 seconds, that's not bad. Where is Lewis going to come out? Is he going to get out ahead of the Ferraris? That would be nice. Yes, he is.
Just need to make sure keep these tyres in good nick.
Understood.
He made F1 fun. He did not make F1 fun. At the current, I would say maybe at the current crop, Magnussen is a little overrated. Everyone thinks he's this great driver. I mean, he's solid, but he's not necessarily as quick as everyone seems to think he is. Yeah, it's the reason why he was called Nikita Mazepin. .1, about the same as Lewis's
Just
pit stop there. Max and Ocon are through. He's going to be fighting Lewis on exit. Lewis has just gone through ahead there. He's going to be right behind, but he is going to get out in front of Leclerc, just. Right, just need to get these tyres warmed up.
Just reduce your speed.
Alright, copy that.
Russell's going to have a slight tyre advantage over Lewis for the remainder of the race. Gasly's very underrated. I would say until this season, I would say Albon was very underrated. I think more people are starting to recognise, Albon's talent this year.
If we could just drop back a bit.
Copy.
Gasly was definitely underrated for a while, but I think people are, aware of his talent now. Considering how excellently he recovered after being dumped back into Toro Rosso by Red Bull after just half a season.
So the stops are starting to happen now.
Mick will never be like his father. Well, I mean, that's not surprising. Mick is just one of those generational talents, like Max, like Lewis, like Senna. It's not at all surprising that Mick can't live up to that. Very few racing drivers, it's not just necessarily racing drivers. There are very few second and third generational athletes that can live up to being the offspring of a legend. There are some who can, but there are a lot more who can't. I mean, look at the Fittipaldi boys. They are, Enzo is still young. He's in the Red Bull developmental program. His brother is a reserve driver for Haas, but he's in his mid-20s now, and he's nowhere near a seat. But their uncle, Emerson, former, world champion. Same with Andretti, Mario Andretti, F1, championship winner, racing legend. Won titles in multiple disciplines. Michael, quick, but not at his father's level.
head down now.
So Max just 2 seconds ahead of our two drivers on older mediums. We are going to reel him in, catch him. Our drivers are now free to attack each other. We are not instigating team orders unless we get something like a safety car to close the field back up again, in which case we'll get them to hold position until we can break away. Do I think Teo could get a seat in the coming years? Well, he is the current reserve driver for Alfa Romeo. So whether or not he keeps that as they transition into Audi is unclear. There is a desire within Audi to have some German representation, you know, in the cars.
So head down
I
now.
believe. Maybe Mick has the potential to get a seat with Audi. It's possible. I don't know where Teo's going to end up, but he will at some point end up in Formula One. He's got the pace. Vesti's got a good chance of getting into Formula One as well. He is in the Mercedes program. Bottas might retire. I think Bottas is another one of those drivers that will stick around for a while yet. I think Joe is more likely to lose his seat than Bottas, at least at Alfa Romeo anyway. Alright, can George get the move done on Max? Not quite, because he's having to cover Lewis. See, this is the downside of letting your drivers fight, is that it slows them down and they don't necessarily make the most of the opportunities that come their way. We do need to have a crack at fastest lap, so we're going to be doing that with both our drivers on this lap. We're going to set them onto sprint. Let's do that now.
Let's push and get past him. Let's get after it. Use the overtake. Okay.
Brundle was an underrated driver. Brundle was a solid driver. He wasn't a phenomenal driver, but he was a good driver. You know, he didn't necessarily get the best opportunities at the right times in his career. Mark Blundell was similarly a good driver who didn't necessarily get the right opportunities at the right time, but neither of them were World Championship material. Evening, George. Alright, we're just tripping over ourselves here, trying to get past Max. Alright, George is through. I've realised I've forgotten to fix that. There we go. And Lewis is through as well. So this might be fastest lap material for George here. Unless Lewis, you know, claims it through DRS. They'll be scrapping with each other again, but we should take the fastest lap from Perez on this lap, I hope. George is purple in the first sector. Montoya could have been more. No, I mean, Montoya had raw pace, but didn't have the same level of control as some of the truly great drivers. think the success he achieved is about what could have been expected. Maybe he could have done a little better, but I don't think he would have won a world title. Hamilton takes the fastest lap, but only just. And now we need to calm their tyres down and start saving a little bit of fuel. And we'll put them both back into top up.
Increase in lift and coast just a little.
Understood.
And just charge the pack.
Yep. Charge the pack.
Okay, so we are about 4 seconds ahead of Max now, and we should theoretically be able to just continue to pull away from him now. We've got tyres in better condition, although that will kind of balance out over the remaining laps, but they are a faster compound, and we've arguably got a faster car as well. Plus, our drivers, although they're going to be holding each other up when they're scrapping, they are also going to be leapfrogging each other on the straights with DRS to help keep stretching that gap as well. So I think on balance we will gradually keep pulling away from Max now while they fight. Make sure the battle between Russell and Hamilton isn't like Senna Prost in 1990 or 1989 or Villeneuve Schumacher in 97 at Jerez or Schumacher and Hill at Adelaide in 94. Alright, sorted out Lewis's fuel. Tyre temps are almost under control.
Lift the coast for now, we'll make it up later.
Understood.
Just got to bring them down a little bit more. So 131.2 against 131.7. So yeah, about half a second. Perez on a bit of a push right now, or he was last lap, as he's got himself past Leclerc and into fourth. So it's 2 by 2 at the moment. Mercedes 1-2, Red Bull 3-4. I was about to say Ferrari 5-6, and Stroll went and spoiled that for me. There we go, back to 5-6. Now we just need Stroll to do what he normally does and make a mistake and drop him down behind the Alpines, and it'll be 2 by 2 all the way through the top 10. Alright, tyre temps are now back under control. In fact, I'm just going to leave them like this.
Understood.
Take a little bit of pace out of the
Yeah, we just need to make sure that
out of the cars.
Click on that tyre.
We're still quicker than Max, I think. We'll keep an eye on lap times over the next lap or two. But if we can just take a little bit of the strain off the engine, then while still letting them fight. Let's see, what do we do across the line? .131.1. Max again at 131.7. So yeah, we'll leave them like this. based on the last 2 races, it looks as though we have managed to return Mercedes to the ascendancy at the top of the Formula 1 ladder. It looks as though we are on course for a Constructors' Championship this season, and there'll be nothing left to do with this team once we've done that. One of our 2 drivers is probably going to win the driver's title. We are probably going to win the Constructors' Championship, so we will be moving on to pastures new at the end of this season. But we have kind of restored Mercedes to the Hamilton-Rosberg era, where the drivers are free to fight each other, and the potential for it to get messy is going to be there. Is it going to be title number 9 for Lewis, or is it going to be title number 1 for George? I know which way Clara would like that to go. And to be fair, I think it would be quite nice to see George get a title as well. Last season we definitely favoured Hamilton because he was the quicker of the 2 drivers and was the more likely to be able to mount a challenge if the car came good, which it did, and he won. This season is open season on the championship. Both of our drivers free to engage in fisticuffs with each other. But it would be quite nice to leave with both of our drivers having attained the championship, I think. So, early contenders for us to join. I kind of like the idea of getting McLaren up to the top of the pack as well. But we could go for maybe a more long-term project, because I think McLaren would again be like a 2-season job. We could go for something a bit more long-term. We could look at maybe Williams, although I think we could probably turn Williams around within maybe 3 seasons at most. Alfa Romeo is probably the real long-term project. Although we could go for a theme. I'm toying with the idea of taking over Haas and hiring Sargent and Crawford as my drivers. So we've got 2 young American drivers in an American team. We could do maybe not just the restoration of Alfa Romeo Sauber, but we could also, maybe do a storyline transition into Audi and look to sign German talent. Not just in the cars, but in the back room as well. So German aero team, German engineers, that kind of thing. We've got plenty of time to see how the grid is going to develop over the course of the season, and come up with a good scenario for us to take on, because we want to have a little bit of a theme, I think, with our next team. We came in with this one with the objective of getting Mercedes back up to the top so they could be another team in the fight. So we would have 3 teams fighting, and as we've got them there, it looks as though Ferrari might be starting to drop away. The other main reason I wanted to do Mercedes is I wanted to get Lewis at least one more World Championship before he inevitably retires in game. And that part of the objective is done. And as I say, just based on the first 2 races of this season, you could arguably say that Mercedes are back, because we're on for another 1-2 here. We've got a 6-second lead over Max that is still gradually increasing. So the question then becomes, what do we want to do next? Do we want to buy Lawrence Stroll out of Aston Martin and get rid Lance once and for all? Do we want to get McLaren back into the title fight? Do we want to take on AlphaTauri and show Big Sis how it's done? That could be a fun challenge. ABL. What's ABL? Sir R-Dub. Yeah, I'm a little curious. As far as Farah goes, that could mean always bloody Lewis. I don't know. What do you mean by ABL, Farah? And what am I missing? Alpine would be your choice, says VXR. Yeah, Alpine's the problem with Alpine is... No, anyone but Lewis, yeah. No, we won't be signing Lewis to another Mercedes contract. So when we leave, he will be out of contract. I'm assuming it will actually let us leave with that seat still vacant, and then it'll be up to the AI who they decide to sign to fill that seat. They might re-sign Lewis, they might sign someone else. Lewis might retire, who knows? Yeah, the problem with an Alpine theme is that Alpine have already got that kind of going. They've got that great French revival, kind of theme going. They've got two French drivers in a French team. That's kind of the dream creative storyline to spin, and it's already in existence. I don't know. Maybe you could look at replacing Gasly or Ocon with Pourchaire, but given Pourchaire's stats, he would probably be very quick after just one season of youth development. And after just one season, given where Alpine are at the moment, Alpine would be near the top of the grid anyway. So again, Alpine would not necessarily be a long-term project. It would be maybe a 2-season, maybe 3-season project, and that'd be it.
Laps.
5 laps to go, and our drivers are playing hot potato with the lead. Gap up to 7 seconds over Verstappen now. Take a look further down the order. Leclerc has dropped off the back of Perez. Yeah, Perez caught him on those soft tyres and has pulled enough of a gap that he will probably stay ahead now. Look at Perez. No, Perez is probably a bit too far away to challenge Max in the remaining laps. Who did we just lap? Oh no, we didn't lap anyone. I'm looking at Leclerc, so that is Stroll and Ocon fighting behind. That is the closest fight going on right now, I believe, of any real consequence. I mean, we've got a 3-way fight for 16th between Bottas, Hulkenberg and Albon. It's a tie situation like between Stroll and Ocon. I'd say Ocon's probably favourite. Russell moves back into the lead. He does still have that slight tyre advantage, but it's negligible at this stage. Gasly 3 seconds back. Is he closing? He is. Gasly is closing. Could that become a three-way fight? Sainz has dropped to 9th. Again, Sainz having a disappointing race weekend. It's just... something is wrong with that Ferrari. It's just not there this year. Sainz just doesn't have any pace left in his car. Hasn't got any pace left in those tyres either. There's a very good likelihood here that Gasly will drop Sainz very quickly here. Sainz just hanging on to DRS by the tips of his fingers here.
3 more laps.
3 laps to go. Once again, our drivers swapping position on the main straight. Sainz is a lap away from being dropped by Gasly, I think. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. I think it's our first yellow flag of the race.
Yellow.
Coming.
There's a lock-up for Daniel Ricciardo.
Here we are then, reaching turn 13. And the car just locks, and they ended up their own passenger.
Ocon now closing on Leclerc. He's got ahead of Stroll. It's going to be a really dramatic last lap, I think. We're going to see a lot of positions suddenly in danger. Can Sainz stay in range? If he can make it through these next couple of corners in range, he'll be able to survive for another lap. But he's out of range right now. So close. That's the detection point. I think he's out of range. He is. Can he still just stay in? It's really close. Oh, he's just snuck in, I think.
2 laps remaining. That's it.
No, he's out again. And now I think that is the end of Sainz. Gasly's now 1.5 seconds behind Stroll. Ocon within 2 seconds of Leclerc. It's all going to come down to this final lap. Give Hamilton a fastest lap attempt. No, we gave them both an equal attempt at the fastest lap. Now they're just fighting on equal terms. No point risking them crashing on the final lap or two. We'll let them fight, but we're not going to take any unnecessary risks. And Gasly is in range of Stroll. Aston Martin fading here. Ocon closing on the back of Leclerc. It's not inconceivable that Gasly could maybe catapult himself onto the back of his teammate. As we start the final lap. And George throws it around the outside at turn 1, becomes the inside at turn 2, then side by side, George just ahead. Still side by side. And still side by side. We are not getting involved in this. Please don't take each other out. That's all I ask. I don't care who wins. I know Farah does, but I just want both my cars to finish. But I'm not going to tell him to hold off. Russell goes and fails, but he's now got 3 more DRS zones. Although arguably the last one won't have enough time. It's down to whether he can get him on the run up to the final turn, I think. This is his last real opportunity. He's diving left and right, trying to find a way through. He's going to dive it up the inside. It's going to be close. I think he's going to get him. Russell takes the lead on the final turn. He's going to out-drag Lewis to the line. It's back-to-back wins for George Russell. Once again, taking the lead from Lewis on the final lap. This time on the final corner. George is here for a fight this year. And we're going to give it to him. We're going to let him have a crack.
Happy with that, Lewis? Let's get after it, mate.
Let's have a look further down the order. Stroll just managed to hold off Gasly in the end. That was close, just a 1/10.5 in it. In the end, Ocon couldn't quite catch on to Leclerc. Verstappen's third, Perez fourth, Leclerc fifth. Norris gets the final point. Alonso in the end dropping down behind Norris. Wow, Alonso was hanging on to that point until the very last lap, and then I think Alonso just got jumped on the final turn, maybe. You know, given how close they are. And Ricciardo's lockup consigns him all the way down to 19th in the end. He was ahead of that train of Hulkenberg and back. To the nth Grand Prix trophy. Win 10 Grand Prix in one career.
Excellent win, with everything working together for the team and driver.
We may see these kind of scenes a lot in Formula One, but it's easy to forget just what it means to the whole team. And right now, it's the British driver who proudly takes his place on the podium.
Are we witnessing the changing of the guard?
There's further delight for the team as they get to see both drivers up there together.
And finally now, the drivers can relax after an eventful weekend at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And as proceedings start to wind down here, what will Mercedes have made of this result, Karun?
I doubt they could be much happier. A win and a podium place. What a great way to round out the weekend.
Okay then, and a big thank you to everyone for joining us this weekend here in Jeddah.
And for the next round, Formula One is heading down under. Exciting times ahead in Australia on the shores of the Albert Park Lake.
Well, there we go. Another cracking fight between our two drivers. This time, it's George taking it on the final corner. He was able to beat Lewis to get his second win in a row. It's back-to-back victories for George, and he got the fastest lap this time as well. So he will extend his gap in the drivers' championship. It's another maximum haul of 44 points for constructors. Max once again is in third, getting onto that final step of the podium. Stroll up 5 places in the end to finish in 7th. Just able to hold up a recovering Gasly, but who couldn't quite get him at the end. Another poor race for Carlos Sainz, down 2 places from 7th to finishing 9th. And yeah, it's not looking great for him at the moment at Ferrari. I wonder what's going on there. Fernando Alonso having a disappointing race, dropping 2 places and losing out to Lando right at the end there for the final point as well. Good recovery from Albon, gained 5 places after starting at the back of the grid. Disappointment towards the end for Ricciardo, with that lockup costing him a few places. Let's take a look at the championship standings. Now you see George Russell in the lead on 51 points. Lewis on 37, 14 points behind now, 7 clear of Max. Perez in 4th, it's Leclerc in 5th. Ocon moves up to 6th place, as does Stroll, jumping up as well to 7th. Alonso dropping down 2 places after failing to score points here. Gasly gets himself on the board. 2 more points for Carlos Sainz, but that's 2 back-to-back 9th places for Carlos Sainz. Not a great start to the season for him. And then a bit further down, we see Norris getting his 2nd point of the season. No one else yet to score. And then we see Mercedes 88 points from 88 after the first 2 races. We already have a 34-point lead over Red Bull, who are 30 points ahead of Ferrari. So it does look as though it's going to be a fight between us and Red Bull. And maybe not even for that long. If we can keep this form going, then it's 10 wins on the bounce for our team. If you include last season as well. Aston Martin just picking 6 points up. Alpine full level with 12 points from today's race. So we've got 2 tied for 4th place at the moment. McLaren with an extra point, doubling their tally. Haas, Williams, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo still yet to score. Let's take a look at the pit stop challenge. Once again, we had the fastest pit stops, but the rest of the field have closed the gap slightly. We were considerably quicker than everyone in the first race. We had 2.0 second stops in Bahrain, slightly slower here, and the rest of the field was on 2.3s. This time Max with a 2.2, but again it's maximum points in the standings there, so that gives us a very healthy 86 points, almost double Red Bull at the moment. We are going to have to start working on our timing again, by the look of it. And there you see, it was George who had the fastest pit stop with a 2.14. Lewis 0.03 of a second slower on his stop. So into the race, 8 successful overtakes, 17 failed for George. 18 successful defences though, and 6 failed. Let's take a look at Lewis's stats. 7 failed successful overtakes, 18 failed, 13 successful defences and 7 failed. Again, we're going to see weird numbers this season because we are going to just let them fight. I wonder if we'll ever see another 50-odd successful defences like we did at Imola for George last season. That was just insane. Was it 53 successful defences? He was mighty at Imola last year. And then we see Teo with some more experience as well. So in terms of sponsorship funds, we gain a nice 5.2 million, paying out just a bonus to George. Lewis again not finishing in first, not getting his bonus. So that saves us about 450 grand. We have another spare front wing available. That's good. We've got a response required from our inbox. More sponsorship obligations are required. Let's check out whether our cars survived inspection. Yes, they did. Engines are down to 77%. After just 2 races. That's a little disconcerting. Let's have a look. The feature race results for Formula 2. It was Enzo Fittipaldi ahead of Behrman and Vesti to take the podium. Let's take a look at the full race results. Behrman setting the... that's practice. Let's have a look. In the sprint race, it was Fittipaldi getting the sprint win. and the race win. So a great weekend for Enzo Fittipaldi there. 8th in the sprint for Bearman before getting 2nd in the main. Vesti 4th and 3rd. Good weekend for him. Jack Crawford down 2 places to 4th in the race, the main race. 7th in the sprint. We'll keep an eye on Jack Crawford. You know, keep an eye on his performances. I say if we do end up going to Haas and doing an American team, then he is the driver that we will almost certainly be putting in alongside Logan Sargent. Right, so they want more factory events. They can get stuffed. I'm not giving up more factory time. They've got enough as it is. Let's see. So we've now got 3 spare front wings, I think. Oh, no, just 3 in total. Okay, so we're still 1 short of having a spare for both drivers. Right, what is currently in development and how far away? The chassis is 1 day away from being ready for manufacturing. And then we'll probably do another front wing project. Okay, let's advance time a day. Let's start building this chassis. So this will actually have a slightly negative impact on our top speed. We'll lose just 0.01 kilometers per hour, but we'll get a nice little boost to medium and high speed downforce, high speed more specifically, and we'll also get a nice little bump on our engine cooling as well, which we definitely need because our engine cooling is pretty poor, as you can see. This will give us a nice little boost in that respect. So let's go ahead and build. This is probably the last chassis we're going to build for a while, actually. So let's go ahead and build 4 of those. It's going to take 49 days till we have 2 spares. 14 days for the first one. That's got to be down to factory obligations. I would like to have this all in place before Miami if possible. We will have a spare going into Baku, but I would like to have 2 spares for Baku. Baku is a sprint weekend, so we'll be locked into Parc Ferme after sprint quali. So let's look at rushing those, and we'll get those in 33 days. Okay. Yes, we'll commit to that. There's an extra 1.1 million in total, but we can go ahead and justify that. So let's get those chassis underway. Let's have a look at maybe doing a new front wing project. We're 48 days away from the next set of hours, so we've got a way off on those yet. Let's see. I don't think I can actually improve my front wing that much without this is going to hurt my acceleration. I don't think I can improve this without hours. Not effectively anyway. We can take a little bit out of brake performance because we do have the best brakes on the grid right now. Are you free to use my setup data? Of course, yeah. I mean, even if I said no, you could just pause the video and have a look anyway. But yeah, by all means. I mean, every time I get a 100% setup, I write it in a notebook, and then I've got it for future reference for the next time I race on that track. And I would highly advise that everyone does that. You know, it's not like Formula One teams going blind, you know, to each race weekend, not having a clue how to set the car up and, you know, just throwing together whatever works. They base it on simulation work and historical data and, yeah, all sorts. So Yeah, go ahead. Knock yourself out. Go. I'm gonna go with that, I think. Okay, so I've got 5 engineers. Baku is 38 days away. I don't think I can get it. Well, maybe I can. Yeah, no, not quite. Can't get it in time for Baku. That's a bit of a shame. I'm assuming I've done an intense one. I'm not sure if I did with the front wing. I don't know if I had the funds for that. I don't have the funds this time round either, so it'll just be a normal project, but that'll be a bit more experience gained. We've got a lot of projects on the go. I think that'll probably be it for a little while, potentially, on upgrades for the car. We've got to keep an eye on the cost cap. You know, we kind of went really gung-ho at the start of last year and never really slowed down in time to the point where we started running out of money much earlier than I would have liked. We started manufacturing and designing and stuff even earlier this year. We started from day 1 of January. So yeah, we are potentially under a little bit more constraint this time around. How much do we actually have left? Again, it's kind of bugged, so this doesn't really work, the projected spend, but we're down to 86 million already. So yeah, we've spent a good chunk of money already. Let's see. Facilities have taken about 5 million so far. Yeah, this is how much we spent on car parts already. We've already spent 46 million on car part development. That's quite a lot. So we've got to be very wary of not going too over the top. How much money do we have? 1.3 million. Let's have a quick look at our current facilities. I've got quite a few facilities starting to wear out now, so I think we're going to be hitting the point where we slow down development so that we can start looking at upgrading facilities maybe, or at least refurbishing them, which is going to be a lot cheaper. You know, 12 mil to upgrade the car park test centre to level 4, but only 2.5 to refurb it. Same story with the wind tunnel, 17 mil for an upgrade, which would take a very long time to come through, or just 3.2 for a refurb. And design centre, 4.4 or 18 million, and over 3.5 months for an upgrade. So I think we're looking mainly at just refurbing these facilities this year. I say we won't be here at the end of this season, so let's just leave the team in a strong position, but not an overpowered situation, I think. Staff facilities, we do need to upgrade or refurb our race hub. Again, we don't have the funds for that yet. And there is 1 level left on the team hub, but that's a little pricey. We'll try and hold off for a straight upgrade rather than a refurb. And operationally, again, the memorabilia room is not really an issue at the moment. It's only going to boost team attractiveness. We'll just throw a quick refurb on there. It's not that expensive. Boardroom. Board are happy enough. Yeah. Just check in with the board while we're here. So delighted still, as you can see. Everything else is ticking over very nicely indeed. Let's go to our inbox. There's our email to say that our chassis is done. There we go. We do have a low number of front wings. Yes, we do. It's going to be a little while until the next front wing is available. It's not going to be available really till Miami. And we've got 2 more Grand Prix, including a sprint weekend to get through. So let's go ahead and just make 1 extra front wing. So at least got 2 spares going into Melbourne, and then we can reassess as we head towards Baku whether or not we need to make another spare or not. There's the spare wing. Okay, let's go to our cars. Let's check the warehouse. So we only have 1 of the chassis available at the moment, so again we'll hold off. Check the underfloors though. We do have 2 underfloors, so enough to equip them onto both cars. This will hurt our dirty air tolerance slightly, but give us more downforce and improve our speed and our acceleration, which is a bit more important. Let's see. Side pods, we're still okay on those. Got more being designed right now. Suspensions, we've got enough spares. Rear wings, yeah, we've got a rear wing project going through, I believe. Front wings, yeah, we've got spare front wings. We know about the chassis. Okay, so the cars are as good as they're going to get. See where that puts us in terms of performance. We now have the fastest car outright, whereas it was Leclerc in the last race. Acceleration still 9th. Slightly down in the high speed now. We've flipped it from being 2nd in low speed and 1st in high speed to the other way round. Brake cooling still good. Engine cooling at 11th. That will improve when we get the new chassis on in time for Baku, hopefully. Well, yes, we'll definitely have it on for Baku. We'll have spares as well, because we rushed it. Yeah, the car's looking pretty good. And that is where we are going to end tonight's stream. So, another very good 1-2, another great scrap between our 2 drivers. Once again, George just overcoming Lewis to get his 2nd win in a row, 2nd win of the season, and just his 3rd overall in a Mercedes. Obviously the first one was before we joined the team. It is shaping up to be a stellar fight between those 2 as the season is going to tick on. Are we going to see a bit of a surge from Red Bull as they try and come back at us? Is Ferrari going to do anything at all this season? Leclerc is there or thereabouts. Sainz is, well, 2 9th places in a row. It's not been a great start to the season for Carlos. Can we see him up his game? Can Alpine overcome Aston Martin and become the 4th best team? There's a lot to play for this year and a long way to go. So we'll be back tomorrow, usual time, 9 PM for round 3 at Melbourne. So until then, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more F1 Manager very soon.